You did what you had to do, but it challenged you to get, particularly when you have to send defenders to become forwards again.
Yeah, well, it wasn't perfect, but it was still a nice, strong performance by the team, and take a 40-point win at the start of the day, all day long. And it's frustrating sometimes out there playing, but with great respect to the West Coast, they were never going to come here and not give a good account of themselves. They've only got to look at their starting mids; they're pretty talented. Their forwards as well down that end, and be disrespectful to the game if we didn't acknowledge that they played pretty solid footy too.
How do we read it that they had so much of the ball, those 380 possessions? Is it still challenging for your group to break down an opponent?
No, I don't think that's the case. I think sometimes side style is a bit conducive to a lot of the footy. We're a bit different this year. We've typically been a pretty high possession team ourselves, but we certainly haven't been that this year so far. And I think that's pretty signature of West Coast, the way they like to play. And you've got to give a lot if you're going to try and take a lot of that ball off them sometimes, which is a bit risky.
Marshall, what's the word there?
Yeah, he's clearly subbed out with concussion, so not too bad. He's pretty good, to be fair, but we don't take any risks with head knock, so he'll be unavailable next week.
So what's that do with the picture? Dixon's still waiting on that?
Yeah, as I said yesterday, we're optimistic around Charlie and being available. So if not, we'll find a way, as we did today with Ollie Lord come in and played his first game. So that was exciting. You do grow every week. Burton went forward and you see an opportunity, kick a couple of goals. So there'll be solutions, and we'll be optimistic around what those solutions are.
Frenetic for Lord at the beginning. It was happening all over the place for him.
I'm not quite sure what he did with his first kick. He was talking to me about that with his family, and I said I reckon he might have missed that from the goal screech. I think I might have too. But yeah, what a great moment for him to kick his first goal and play his first game in front of his family, and it's a great memory for everyone that's played the game, and he should be really proud of what he's done, particularly from January this year to where he's got to today.
He's got a bit of old school about him. He's pretty crash and bash.
Got a lot of old school. Yeah, he got a lot of old school. He replaced an old school player, and that's what we were, for all the selection critiquing that gets done, we replace something similar, I think, with the next closest thing we have to that top player.
You must have been pleased with how clean he was as well below his knees.
Yeah, and
it wasn't just a bash and crash.
No, he's got a great strength for a big fella. He does actually get after the ball pretty well on the ground. And again, like Charlie, they're both capable in both places, which is pretty important. And if you get in the way, he tends to take you with him. That's just the way he plays.
Connor, we're all trying to work out where everyone is in this competition. It's been a weird start in some ways, but you've got a feel of what you're doing as a group and what you could reach.
Yeah, we felt like we've had a bit of a challenging start, and we've probably come out the other end pretty decently. So just starting to get a bit of a roll on now and playing our sort of style of footy a bit more. So we've got a real belief and confidence going forward. We've had some tough fixtures so far. So, if we play our style of footy with our pressure and our defence is building every week, I think we can take it to most teams in the competition.
What's been the defence? How much of that team defence has had to be worked on, considering the challenges that the defenders had at the start of the year?
Yeah, massively. I think that's where, when things break down, it's in our defence, and that was probably displayed earlier in the season. So we've been focusing on that for the last 3 or 4 weeks now, and I think that's shown. It's a massive focus, not only for our defenders, but all line groups, really. It's something that we hold in high regard, and something we'll be focusing on going forward as well.
What has been the biggest change that you've seen from, say, that round 3 where you were to where you are as a team now?
Yeah, we've always been a side that's prided ourselves on pressure. We found that the last few weeks. We brought in some players that can do that. That'll be something, again, that we'll be focusing on going forward. When we bring our pressure, we play our best footy, and the other things take care of themselves. We've got some talented players in our side, so when we bring our pressure, then, again, we play our best footy.
How much is Darcy Byrne-Jones going forward added to that pressure mix-up there, which was letting you down a little bit earlier in the season?
Yeah, look, I think that's Darcy's added a bit, and it's been good for him because his form was, we started him subbing a game, and his own form has coincided with him going forward, starting to improve for us, which is really important. He's a pretty combative player, so we think that's good. I think there's also a reasonable point to be made around the quality of the opposition. I think that's, bar Collingwood, who got hold of us. I don't think we'll be the last team, perhaps, that they get hold of. We led in the showdown with about 8 minutes to go by 4 points. We've been thereabouts. Yeah, we haven't won every game, but as I said yesterday, not any team in the comp's won every game. So it's tough.
Ken, you spoke yesterday about instinct with tackling. There's also instinct with bumping. So how are you going to read the Tom Jonas moment that is going to be a headline again? Yeah,
well, again, I'll let people determine that who are in the right spots to determine it. But, from ground level, which I was at again today, ground level, I've seen a head clash, which is unfortunate part of the game. So I'm not going to try and pass any judgment on that. Let's let the people who make those decisions.
But is it hard now for a player to... You talk about that instinct.
Yeah, well, that was an instinctive action. I think that's what I've seen. And again, I've only seen it live on the ground, so I don't know exactly what actually happened. Ask me again tomorrow, I might be able to give you a better synopsis. But right now, I think it was just a collision that happens in games of football. But there is some risk with that because we've seen what's been going on.
Obviously, came back into the team not being in the greatest of form. How did you assess his game in general?
Tom? Yeah, I thought he was solid out there today. And again, on the incident, we should pass a message on the fact that the player stayed on the ground and got through the whole game. So I think that's really important to remember too with accidental head clashes. But Tom's own game, I think it was a solid performance, solid return from him. He looked like he was had a bit of his power back, which is really important to his game.
The Burton move, was that in part at all with next week in mind, or at least giving you some of those solutions that you talked about? If Dixon's not available, Marshall not available.
I wish I had the time to think about next week when the game's going on, but I don't. And the coaches don't. We just think about today and the immediate outcomes that we're trying to achieve. And the reality for us is that we'd lost a scoring piece in our front half that's an aerial threat, and we replaced it with what we thought was the next best thing as an aerial threat without disrupting too much else on the team. And we had Dylan as a defender to come onto the ground.
Do you feel like though, that he showed you enough to potentially be an option for you going forward in attack?
Yeah, well, he kicked a couple of goals, so I think yes, it's certainly an option for us going forward. But we've got other options available to us that we'll assess that as we get through the early part of the week and see where we go. But Ryan's also pretty important for us down back.
Ken, remembering today, Trent McKenzie won 50 games. Can you just remind us why you rang him to get him to Port Adelaide?
He's just a high-quality person. I think that's what he is, and he's got high talent. He's always had high talent. I mean, lucky enough when I was at the Gold Coast. He's a 17-year-old that came in, really talented. Had a really rough run with his body and injury, and being able to stand up. And what he's been able to do is get through now to a point where he's quite durable. And that happens to some people as they get a bit older. They actually can cope with the game and the physical battle of the game. Sometimes I said to him before the game. He's probably trained the least of any 50-game player that I've seen. So it's a bit of a tick to the way we manage him, but also a tick to the way he goes about things.
So what made him a defender?
Oh. Maybe it was desperation at the time by us to try and find something different, but he's a combative player, and you need to be a combative player to play as a tall back and a key back. And Trent's never been, like the highlights that we've seen on him yesterday, there were so many times where he's just going back into positions you shouldn't go, but he goes there. So, and he's a reliable piece. The team trust him, and he plays that way.
Connor, what does it mean to you to perform on this stage this week, on the national calendar?
Yeah, it's an extremely special day for our football club in general. Something that I look forward to every year. Our club does it really well. It's a special day for individuals within our football club, but also our football club as a whole has had a lot of people who have served in the past. The Badco medal is a special honour for me to win. It's based on the spirit of the player rather than the actual performance, I guess, and touches and goals and that sort of thing, which is I'm really proud to be able to, display that and be, given that medal for those reasons. And I guess everyone loves playing in these sorts of games. Our club does it really well, and hopefully we can keep it going forward. So yeah.
Connor, most players like stability or things to be, regular. What's it like when you've got so many changing ruck situations at the moment as a midfielder, particularly at stoppage?
It can be a challenge, but I think the boys that have come in have battled really, really well. All we ask from our rucks is to compete and to have second efforts and to help our midfielders out, and that's what Brim provided us today. It's never going to be easy to have a dominant ruck in there every single week, and that's been a challenge for us. But I think the guys that we've got going through there, I'm sure Scooter will get back to his best soon, but Bryn was really great today, and he's a really competitive guy. So, I loved his work.
All good. Thank you.